Welcome to Daily Overdose.
But I think one of the reasons why these people have this deep-seated anger and resentment is there's a bunch of people out there that have these lives that are deeply unsatisfying. Because I think there are so many people that are working all day long doing something that is deeply unsatisfying and almost painful.
Yeah, soul killing.
Soul killing.
Yeah.
They're stuck in traffic all day, and then they're stuck in a cubicle after that. They relish the time to take a shit in the bathroom and look at their phone. I mean, they literally do that. That's a highlight of someone's day. They get in traffic on the way home. They get home after that, they're watching television, and they're...
You ever notice that some people seem to want to hang on to stuff that is bothering them? They're forever talking about it. They don't want to let it go. They've had a failure at something and it's grown. They can't get over it. They just can't get over it. Or somebody said something nasty to them. They don't want to let it go. Do you know what we should do? We should ask ourselves, everything that happens, is this serving you? Is this serving you? And if it's not serving you, get rid of it. You don't want anything in your life that's not serving you, that's not causing you to grow, that's not adding to the quality of your life. I don't care what it is. You will find some people, they just hold on to bad stuff. They hold on to problems. They don't want to seem to let it go. And that adds more problems. Whatever you focus on grows. The only thing that can grow is the thing you give energy to. Why would you hold on to anything that's not serving you?
How bad does it have to get? I mean, to what denominator, to what lowest level do you have to reach before people really make up their mind to change? My message is, why wait? I mean, when you're feeling so altered emotionally, you feel so bad, that's the moment you could actually see yourself for the first time, because you're not answering your cell phone, you're not responding to all your texts, you're not watching TV, you're not going out to dinners, you're not calling people back. Something's altered in you, and you're starting to become self-aware, right?
I dare you to analyze yourself first, your company first, your character, your behavior, your work ethics. I dare you to analyze it and see if there's any change you can make.
See, you cannot manage time, but you can manage activity. You can manage your activities. Make certain that what you're doing really makes a difference. Make certain that you're spending your time on activities that are productive, that are taking you in the direction of your goal.
If you think about the person that you want to become, what's that person do every day that you don't do right now? And when you start to do the thing that the person you want to become is doing, you leverage something called behavioral activation therapy. And that is a whole body of research that says when you act like the person you want to become, it's the most powerful way to change a habit. It's even better therapy than talk therapy, because the action proves to your brain that you're becoming that person. You're seeing the change through the action, and so then the brain catches up and starts to relate to you like a person that's confident, or a person who adores their appearance, or a person that celebrates themselves exactly as they are.
Before you start the day, ask yourself, how do I want to think today? How do I want to feel? How do I want to behave? I mean, what would greatness look like? What would love look like today? What could I do that would be really cool for me at the end of the day? Say, wow, so I had a good day today. What would make me feel that way? And if you can't find an answer to that, start reading. Who reads anymore? Read a book.
I read so many books a week.
I know, I'm that way too. So read something about, you want to be wealthy? Read a book about someone who became wealthy, and get real and realize they may have failed 50 times before they actually pulled it off. Or what were their characteristics? What were their traits? What made them? It wasn't about their wealth. It was about who they became. That's the key, right? So fill your brain with a little knowledge, and then just start asking yourself, what's the greatest expression of myself that I can be today? And rehearse it. Rehearse how you're going to be. And then if it leads to a different choice, that's the unknown. Mm-hmm. And just know that it's not going to be predictable. It's going to be a little uncomfortable. That's where the magic happens. If you can stay relaxed and awake in the unknown, things get pretty exciting. When you're back to the known, you're back to the familiar. Don't expect anything to change in your life. And if you say it's that person or that circumstance, you defaulted and went back to the program of the victim, allowing your outer environment controlling your thoughts and feelings. If you truly do this well, this is what I discovered. If I truly feel the feelings of my future before they occur, and I live in that state, I'm no longer looking for it to happen. How could I look for it if I feel like it already has, right? So I try to stay in that state, because then I'm not separate from it. And that tends to be when the magic happens. There's no control anymore. There's no predicting. There's no perfectionism. There's none of. All there is just kind of an experiment. Like, I'm experimenting to see if I changed my thoughts and feelings, if my life will change. And that should be the experiment everybody has. And do it with curiosity, and do it with just seeing if the experiment works. If it doesn't, change something else about yourself until it starts to work.
Deciding who are we going to be. You know, we shouldn't hope to end up one day a magnificent, strong, beautiful, capable, kind, loving person. We should start living like that today, hopefully, so that we become that. That who we become is not an accident, but hopefully a purposeful intent. That our days and how we approach our days are literally driven by the intention of who we're going to bring. That we bring our character into each of the circumstances of our lives, and by doing that, maybe we can't always direct every circumstance of our life. We can't control everything, but we can certainly control our responses to them. We can certainly dictate who we're going to be in those circumstances, and that helps us achieve our ultimate destiny that we desire, not one that just lands on us. I think the other thing that really comes to people's into their power is when they really discover that, you know, each of our days is something that we can also design. Not just design who you're going to be. How are you going to design your day? What's this day going to be about? What's going to get your attention? What's going to get your focus? And what should not be getting your focus is just your inbox, or just what I call browser blackout, clicking around on all these blue links or images, or swiping here and swiping there, and then losing 4 or 5 hours of your day. Because what ends up happening for so many people is they lose 2 or 3 hours to distraction each day, maybe 4 hours of distraction of television a day. And over the course of their lives, now a decade is gone of opportunity, a decade of missed opportunities to connect with your family, to achieve your dreams, to work a little harder, to contribute that thing you always contribute, to learn that skill that you wanted to learn. Like, we have to decide on our days. We have to design them. We have to wake up and decide what this day is going to be about, what's going to get done, what's going to deserve our focus, who will we reach out to, instead of just responding to everybody else's needs.
Look back over your life and ask yourself, what activities, behaviors, or decisions have been most responsible for my success in life to date? You will probably find that less than 5% of the things that you have said or done have accounted for most of the success you have enjoyed. You may find that it was your unique ability to solve a particular kind of problem or to take advantage of a particular type of opportunity. You may find that your special talent was an interpersonal skill that enabled you to influence and persuade other people at a particular time and place. You may find, on analysis, that it was an ability to take charge and accept responsibility for accomplishing a particular goal. Whatever has been responsible for your successes in life to date may be a good indication what you should be doing in the future. Analyze your work based on the measure that I call return on energy. Leaders in every field deliberately apply their talents and energies where they can achieve their greatest return on the amount of energy, mental, emotional, and physical, that they invest in any endeavor. They refuse to take on jobs or work in areas where they cannot perform at exceptional levels. They treat themselves as valuable resources, and they spend their energies very carefully. One of the questions that you might continually ask yourself is this the best possible use of my time and energy? Is what you are doing right now the most valuable thing that you could be doing, given your particular combination of talents and abilities? Often answering this question will help you to see that there is a vast difference between what you are currently doing and what you should be doing if you want to be fulfilling more of your potential. Once you have chosen your ideal job or occupation for this stage of your career, your biggest responsibility is to make the decision to become very good and then to become excellent at what you do. In a lengthy study on successful Americans, the Gallup organization discovered that expertise, or being recognized by your peers as one of the very best in your field, was one of the essential ingredients for success in American life. We said before that self-confidence comes from positive knowing rather than positive thinking. It is only when you know that you are outstanding in your chosen field that you really feel terrific about yourself, and that you enjoy high levels of self-confidence. Men and women who are good at what they do and who know that they are good at what they do are very different from those who are only average. They walk and talk and dress and behave differently. They have an attitude of assurance and certainty about themselves that causes them to stand out in any group. They have a deep down sense of self-worth and self-confidence that is evident to everyone around them. The quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, no matter what their chosen field.
Life is not fair, and that is the reality. Disease and accidents don't care if their victim is a good person. They have no reason, no justification, and no mercy. And you cannot stop it. So, what do you do?
Life's not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be.
Keep going because there's people that don't want to see you succeed. Keep going because you want to prove those people wrong. You want to knock the naysayers down. You want to make them your footstool. I'm telling you to keep going when you face opposition. I'm telling you to keep going when you face adversity.
People always ask me like there's some magical response. How did you go from just coming from Liberty City, selected one of the top 5 speakers in the world? I was willing to work. Most people aren't willing to do that because I was moving. I want you to write this down. Keep it moving. One of the things that you don't want to do is become comfortable with where you are when you know in your heart of hearts you can have more and you can do more, and there's a life for you beyond survival. And I just felt that I could do more.
I say, step up. Be the one who people look to. Absorb the impact and the negativity. No matter what is happening, no matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win. Only surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end. So fight on.
Sometimes you're gonna just say you just don't have it anymore. You must reconnect with your possibilities.
It's time for us to rise again.
It's time for you to rise up, and it's time for you to make that first step. It's time for you to start grinding so that you can make it happen. We got a lot riding on you, and I'm telling you, greatness is here. You can be and do whatever you want, and nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you but you.
Dostoevsky said that in Notes from the Underground. Great book. You know, he said, I love this. It was his an early criticism of the notion of a political utopia. He said, look, if you gave people everything they wanted, they had nothing to eat but cake, and nothing to do but sit in warm pools and busy themselves with the continuation of the species. That was his lines. That the first thing they would do, well, maybe after the first week, was like go kind of half insane and smash everything up just so that something that they didn't expect would happen, so that they'd have something interesting to do. And it's so right, because, you know, the utopian notion that if you just had all the material stuff you wanted, that you'd be, well, what would you be? What would you do? You'd just sit on the couch and watch TV? I mean, you'd be, I don't know what, you'd be cutting yourself just for entertainment and no time flat, you know, and that's the sort of thing that people do. So we're not adapted for security and utopia. We're adapted for a certain amount of security because, you know, we are vulnerable, but mostly we want to have one foot out where we don't know what the hell is going on, because that's where you're alert and alive and tense and with it. And you know, I believe this, and I believe it actually has something to do with the hemispheric structure of the physiology of your brain, is because the right hemisphere looks roughly adapted to what you don't know, and the left hemisphere, and this is an oversimplification, but a useful one, is adapted to the world that you do know, and the right place for you to be is halfway between them. Because and you can tell that's what's so cool, and this tells you that this is actually reality that's manifesting itself to you. You know, that sense of active engagement you have in the world when things are working well for you, you know, where you should be at the right time. You're alert and on top of things and engaged, and you don't have much of a sense of time, and the sense of the tragedy of life sort of recedes, and that's when you've got one foot where it's secure and one foot out in the unknown. And your brain signals to you that you're in the right place by making what you're doing meaningful. And that sense of meaning is actually a neurophysiological signal that you've got the forces of the cosmos properly balanced in your being at that moment. And that's why it feels so good. Now, well, what else could it possibly be? I mean, you know, our brain is capable of looking beyond our vision. That's what it's for. And that sense of engagement, there's no reason to assume that that's anything but a real signal. And you can reduce it. You could say, well, the problem with being where you know only is that you don't know everything. And that's going to be a problem in the future. And the problem with being where you know nothing is, that's just too much, man. Like, you know, you go into panic mode because anything can happen there and you can't handle it. So you've got to mediate between those two things. You want to be secure enough so that your physiology isn't revving out of control, and you want to be out there in the unknown enough so that you keep updating yourself constantly. And that's the place where information flow is maximized. And you know that because that's where you are when you're having a really interesting conversation with someone, or you're gripped by a book, or you're really into a movie, or maybe something that you do as you know, apart from your work, or maybe even in your work, you're into it, and that's because you are in the right place at the right time, and your whole nervous system is signaling that to you. And I would say that's the sort of place that you should be all the time. And of course you can't be, because no one's perfect, but that's the recreation of paradise on earth. It's something like it, because you are in the right place at the right time when that is happening.
I think people's relationship with time. We talk about relationships with humans. How's your relationship with your kids? How's your relationship with your wife? You know, your dad or your parents. But we never talk about a relationship with money and time. And your relationship with time is such a key component of your life, because when you get caught in a routine, time goes so quickly. When you understand that there are maybe only 28 summers left, and if you want to truly, you know, get as much experientially out of life, it just creates a tremendous amount of urgency. So, and the fear goes away. Because you're like, shit, man, nobody on the planet, like everybody, no one's going to be here in 100 years. Do I care what he thinks that, like, we're not going to be here in 100 years. So why wouldn't I take a chance? And it's just, I don't know. It's just so, I stopped writing it because I'm so aware of it. There's not a day that goes by when my head hits the pillow where I don't say to myself, like, you know, did I maximize the day, and am I aware of my mortality? And it might sound depressing, but it's not. For me, it's thrilling. It's thrilling.
You have to make that decision for yourself. You have to decide, I'm going to pursue that path, which is going to be really, really hard and difficult and take many, many years and be a great sacrifice, or am I going to pursue being a great employee? Now, if you want to be a great employee, you've got to remember something. You're hired to help someone else achieve their goals, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you don't understand that, you are not going to be a good employee. So you have a boss and they say, here's our goal for the quarter. You're going to help me get there. You work like hell to make sure that they achieve that goal. You're part of that team. That's very important. And then you keep moving up the ladder. And the great thing about that is if you're a good employee, you can also do very well. It's not the same as being an entrepreneur. You're never going to probably make as much money as you could have had you started the company, is my point. But you'll get the Saturdays off, the Sundays hang out, go to the soccer games with the kids, have a more balanced life. There is no balance in entrepreneurship.
We talked about love and how to have love in a relationship. And one of the complaints that I hear, or one of the issues that I hear in people's lives is that they don't feel loved, they don't experience being loved, they're not loved. And they're then left with this kind of tail chasing exercise, okay? Where they're on the lookout to love themselves first. I first must love myself, which is that statement alone is very insular. It kind of turns you in the way, all right? So, which goes against the grain of love as an expression, right? So love is an expression, but I have to love myself first. It doesn't quite add up, and you got to check this out for yourself, okay? So, what we got to in my conversation with the client was that they themselves could see when they're being loved, that is when someone in their life says, I love you, that they experienced love. And right away in the moment, it seems like I'm experiencing you giving me love. If you look again, if you actually inspect again, you'll see in the moment that they said, I love you, what you were actually present to was your own love for them. Now, if you again look in your life, you'll find there's occasions when people have said, I love you, and you didn't experience anything. In fact, for some of you, if you've had issues with certain people in your life and they say, I love you, you often experience resentment or upset, or, you might not always say it, but you'll experience it. That is, you can't experience that communication, you can't experience their love for you because you are not in the presence of your love for that person. Now, what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that love is a generated phenomenon. That is, it's something I'm doing. It also tells me that love is not an outside-in phenomenon, but rather it's the other way around. It's inside out. That is, I have to be in the presence of my love for you to receive your love. So, I want you to try it out this week. I want you to try out for yourself being in the presence of, that is, getting yourself connected to your love for people, the people in your life. And especially in those moments when they say, I love you. I want you to be present to it, like be there in the moment with it.
Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself, and don't be afraid to be different, man. You ain't got to fit in the crowd. I tell my sons all the time, why are you following everybody when you were clearly meant to lead? It's always better to just do your thing. And I don't care what situation you done got your life in, you can turn your life around, because it ain't ever too late. See, I didn't get into comedy till I was 27. I was homeless from 30 to 33. I lived in a 1976 Tempo. I lived in a car for 3 years, man. And so people see me today, they don't know where I come from. And I tell young cats all the time, man, the key is you can't ever give up.
At some point, I think we all hit that moment in life where things just are not going how you thought they would go.
Sacrifice is always required on the road to your dream. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice?
When you're in that darkness, it feels uncomfortable, but you can't wait. Sit in that darkness. The only way out is to step forward, to face your fears, to become your own light.
Anything is possible, but only if that is what you believe. See, if you're the type that says no, anything isn't possible, that will also be your reality.
You live your life in expectations. That's what happens to you. If you live your life in despair, that's what happens to you.
And as you begin to take that process into your hands, as you begin to shape it, as you begin to craft it, you need to remember one thing. As Larry Page said, being negative is not how we make progress.
Tearing yourself down over the shit that you've done, it's not going to empower you to change the patterns that are keeping you stuck.
The moment you change the frequency that your tower emits, different things come back to you.
You become more smarter, you become more educated, you know more.
but you can't come back. You cannot come back the same individual.
The aha moment is the door that opens. But your new life does not begin unless you can step through the door. I keep going. I am saying I believe in myself.
Best thing about this is that you get to decide what it decides is important. That's why if you focus on your goals being possible only for somebody else, you will see evidence of it everywhere. And if you focus on your goals being inevitable for you, you will see evidence of it everywhere.
See, the marketplace rewards those who have evolved. The marketplace rewards those who have become more valuable. You will be rewarded for the pain, cry in secret, bleed in secret, but in public you'll be rewarded.
Who you are today is just a point of reference. Don't you ever confuse your potential with who you are right now.
When you feel like giving up, don't. When you thinking about giving up, don't. When it look like you ain't gonna make it, keep going.
You do the math, you solve one problem, and you solve the next one.
And it doesn't matter how you get knocked down in life, because that's gonna happen. All that matters is that you gotta get up.
You have to get up.
Whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass.
I tell people, many people wait for greatness. And they believe we have all this time to live, but we only have a moment. And I'm telling you, kings and queens, it's time to go after the dreams that we want. It's time to conquer everything that we believe in, everything that we know is deep down in our soul, and what belongs to us.
Then, you consistently keep improving in that area. From all the action, learning, and new intentions you are setting, then, from all the improvements you are making, you start believing more and more.
Greater intentions, greater beliefs mixed with action and learning creates amazing results.
Because when you see the invisible, you're able to do the impossible. Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will.
If you can stay hungry, you can get the resources. If you can stay hungry, you can get the strategy. If you can stay hungry, the ideas gonna come. If you can stay hungry, the connections will be aligned. If you can stay hungry.
And say, in spite of this, I'm in control here.
It all starts with honesty. Ask yourself what you've been lying to yourself about. Consciously admit that you've been bullshitting yourself about that thing, and do everything in your power to go out and change it. You'll start to move forward and achieve that thing. You'll start respecting yourself more. You'll start carrying yourself differently. It ain't easy to do, but I promise you, it'll be worth it.
It is the chaos of the time that creates the conqueror in the man. So when God gets ready to reveal to you what you have in you, he will often place you in the midst of chaos to push you.
Why do you want to work out? What is your goal? The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal.
We can't work out without purpose. We need to get into our dress for the wedding. Summertime's coming, so we want to look all good. Our high school reunion's coming up, so we gotta lose weight. The biggest purpose in life isn't all that shit. It's how you respect yourself, how you look at yourself. That's an everyday journey.
Things that are difficult. When you do these difficult things, you're stressing your mind, or I should say, not even stressing your mind, exercising your mind and exercising your body's ability to manage intense situations. It's hard. It's very difficult. It's very testing.
Look at training as something that builds character, work ethic. Look at training as something that really builds confidence. Look at training that shows you how to fail and shows you how to get up and win.
If you stop working on yourself, your mind will grow weaker. You must make a commitment that nothing is more important than your self-development.
Because a stronger you is a better you. And a better you is better for everyone around you.
The truth is, most of the days I don't want to go to the gym, but I do, even though I don't feel like it. Doesn't matter if there's a fucking tornado, if there's a snowstorm, if there's a hurricane, if the fucking world is on fire, the job has to get done.
Every day, do something that moves you toward that goal, that keeps that goal alive and in sight and in focus. However small or insignificant that step might seem, take it, do it, make it happen, because that goal isn't going to achieve itself.
Tell the world one time what you're gonna do, and that's it. Spend less time talking and more time grinding. Think like a champion. Speak like a champion. And then walk it out. Grind 120 all day, every day.
Because you don't have to be great to start. But you need to start in order to become great. Start today on your journey to great.
It's what you do with what you have.
Are you capable of grappling with the fact that you're fundamentally flawed to the point where you have to break things down into almost childlike steps in order to manage them? And the answer to that is, yeah, you are.
Much of the time, our mind is like a balloon in the wind, blown here and there by external circumstances.
Sometimes you want to expand your style and like grow, and that's always good, but like never veer too far from who you are, you know, as a person.
I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue, and decisions that you're making right now, like you could be in a state of mind right now, but you can make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place.
I mean, those who have experienced the pains, difficulties, understand with their own experience the pains and sufferings of others too.
The most selfish thing you can do in this world is help someone else. Why is it selfish? Because the gratification, the goodness that comes to you, the good feeling that I get from helping others, nothing's better than that.
How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. As someone who's done what you're about to go and do, I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is.
Tear down this mirror. Tear down this mirror that makes you always look at yourself. And you will be able to look beyond this mirror and see the millions of people that need your help.
And you will make a huge impact on the life of the street, the town, the country, and our planet. Choose to help on any given day, in any given cause. Incredible things will happen in the world you live in.
Thank you for watching our videos. Please like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss another video.